everyone, welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to share with you a behind the scenes look on how I painted this sketchbook painting. I'm going to talk about materials, inspiration, and then I'm going to walk you through the process from start to finish. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos from me. Let's get started. So starting off from inspiration for this painting came from a tiny little watercolor sketch that I did of a landscape from a photograph. I just did a bunch of these little ones and I really liked that one. So I thought I would do it a little bigger and a little differently. So that is how this one came about. This is a Pentalic Traveler sketchbook. It just has regular paper, but has a lot of it. And I really like working with a sketchbook that has a lot of paper because I become a little less worried about messing up. I do gesso the pages when I paint in it. It just helps like strengthen a little bit, give it a little bit more something for the paint to grab onto so it doesn't soak in so much. I use acrylic gouache in my sketchbook. It is a cross between acrylic and gouache paint, so it has a consistency of gouache. It has a very matte finish, but it dries permanent like acrylic does. So I prefer this in my sketchbook because it doesn't stick together like acrylic does. The matte finish helps it to stay separate. I have found this flash vinyl paint, which I also really like, and you can get more of that. It's also matte, and it works pretty much the same. So that's another good option. I use a regular pencil for some of the lines. I love lines, so that's usually part of my paintings. The brush I use is probably the oldest, crappiest brush that I own. I got it in like a paint kit from somebody else, and I have been finding lately that the worse brush, the better for me. I like that I can't control it quite as much, but that's a personal preference. So I have no idea what brand this brush is, but I did find a similar one from Liquitex. Comes in a set of 3, and they are equally awful. So if that's something that interests you, they are cheap, and so far so good. I also use a spray bottle. This is just a little one, and I use this to kind of mix around the paint on the page. Kind of takes my hand out of it a little bit, and I really like that. Also, I use these kind of page savers. So it's just a piece of acetate that I've cut in half, and I put it right underneath each page that I'm using, and that helps keep the rest of the book cleaner. It does get a little bit under the first page, but I don't really worry about it too much. It's just a sketchbook, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's get into the painting part. Okay, so I like to start my paintings with some lines and pencil. I try and keep it really loose and hold it kind of from the back end, just to keep it from, I don't need anything to get tight, or I'm really just playing around with where I want things. I like using pencil first to kind of get over the fear of the white paper and making mistakes. If there's lines already in it, there's something to start with. I also really love having lines show through in the final painting. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes you have to cover over what you did, but I do like kind of having a background to play with that you can leave some things, or because you never know what will happen. So that's how I like to start. And then I start painting. I find some colors I like. I really liked this kind of blue that kind of tied back to the inspiration painting, and I go at it really loose. So I'm using the really terrible brush that I kind of love and just putting stuff down. Making marks and not worrying too much about what's happening, and really enjoying the edges that it creates. I also really like to leave white paper. So if you notice on the left top corner, I am not painting up there. Sometimes I do end up covering over everything just because that's how the painting goes, but I really like to try and leave some empty space with that. I'm also adding a little bit of different tones in there, so there's a little bit of yellow, mixed in with the blue and some white, just to break it up a little bit so it's not all the same. I kind of evaluate as I go what needs to be lighter, if I need to add anything. If you notice, I'm not waiting for anything to dry, really. I'm kind of impatient when I paint, so it kind of all gets mixed together, which is also something that I like to do. And then I start in with the orange. So I'm kind of using this paint a little bit on the loose side, with a little bit more water in it. The acrylic wash can get a little, I don't know how to say it. It doesn't slide so much when there's not as much water in it. So I like to add water so that it has a really nice feel to it. So again, painting in a way that's, loose and not trying to make really clean edges. Even in the bottom part, kind of, I like to make sure that there's a little bit of paint in each area. I am adding a little bit of yellow into my paint, just to break up the sameness, adding a little light area, something a little different. So here I am getting out my spray bottle and kind of wetting the paint. It's, both areas are still wet, so they can kind of mix together in a interesting way in which I have nothing to do with. And I do like having areas or playing with ways that I am not really involved in what's going on. I'm doing it intentionally, and I kind of know what I want, but also I have no way of knowing what the drips will do, what the water will do, and I can either embrace it or I can paint over it if it doesn't turn out well. But I am really enjoying the process of adding a little bit of chaos into my art making. Not really loving all the things. I will leave some of it, and some of it I will edit as needed, and it's always kind of a dance between going back and forth over the painting of what do I like, what do I not like, and leaving some of it, and then sometimes it needs to go back a bit. A little bit of splattering, adding some of that blue into the orange, and then going back again and seeing how it will drip a little bit more with this new layer of paint. Okay, and so I let it dry a little bit, but now I'm going in with this darker, like a dark brown color. And I always like to get a really dark into my paintings, and so a lot of times that's the last thing that I do is add the really dark part. And the contrast really does it for me. It's always nice to have something that really pulls you in, and I've decided to leave the bottom half of the painting as is. So, a little bit of the orange is peeking through. The brown part does go into that area, but you can still see the pencil lines, and leaving that space open is a really nice way to, again, add the contrast of the white next to the dark. Again, adding a little bit more of the orange down there just to kind of keep it cohesive between the top part and the bottom, so it all kind of goes together. hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes look into my sketchbook. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos, please put them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to this channel to make sure you see more videos from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!